Close to Close. Why the ABCs of closing is killing your sales. I have my business partner of Genius Loan Officer, Dallas Hardcastle. We're going to talk about the unclosing. And this is exciting because in the loan officer space, there's always the horrible salesmanship out there trying to smile and dial, frown and dial, and talk to these new referral partners. And you're just, man, you're just waiting to pounce, and you're trying to close, and you're trying to just have conversations about your rates and your terms and your services and all these things that are just blowing up your sales, shutting the door to and closing the door to you being able to differentiate yourself from every other loan officer. Now, if you want to hear about Genius Loan Officer and how it can help you scale your business while being an LEO of your business, which is going from a loan officer to a CEO of your business, reducing you to 6 hours a day, operating in your zone of genius while adding 15 to 20 loan partners, hop over to geniusloanofficer.com, get on a call with us. And hey, listen, we will make it the best hour, half an hour, 10 minutes, whatever it ends up being, that you want to get on there and have a conversation with us. But we're going to make impact in your life, and hop on over there at geniusloanofficer.com. All right, let's get into it. So Dallas, brother, I know this is near and dear to your heart because, and we see eye to eye on, the horrible salesmanships out there. You coined the term unclosing, and I love that because I don't even like saying closing at all in my terminology, because all it does is, even I know we're in the loan officer space, it's like close another deal, but beyond like actually saying clear to close or like that actual terminology, when it comes to sales, I think we just have to stricken it from all our vocabulary. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, you hear clear to close, and that's fine. No, that's in there, and that is what it is. But the starting part, what I always think about when people are thinking of closing, is this is going back. Again, we're going back to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and all we're doing when we're closing is we're thinking of trying to bring every single person in as a buy or a sale, right? We're trying to close everybody, like that's a close, right? That's a great close. You talk to 100 people. We were just talking about when we were off camera here, talk to 100, bring in 100, right? That's a great thing. I closed everybody. Well, unfortunately, if we're closing people, then, think about if you're closing the deal with a spouse or a loved one, if we're closing it with employees, if we're closing it with clients, we are closing and convincing people to come into our world, to come into our little ecosystem when they're very likely not the right fit. So unclosing is all about trying to absolutely screen, to barrier yourself in a way so that if you're talking to 20 referring partners, rather than trying to close 20 referring partners, how can you set up these very strategic little psychological little barriers, these little micro fencing, these little micro screens where you can figure out, of those 20, 10 of them would be good, but 4 or 5 of them will be friggin' amazing. And then you have 4 or 5 friggin' amazing referring partners that you love hanging with. Like you want to go get a drink with them. You want to go hop on the boat with them. You want to go fish with them. You want to go to the game with them. You love spending time with these people so that you are pouring into them. They're pouring into you. They're doing their deals the right way with the people you like, with the clients they attract. We want to set up a barrier of screens where we are no longer closing. I'm not trying to sell myself into this relationship with the female just so I can win and then find out 30 days later, oh gosh, this wasn't a good fit after all. If I wouldn't have been so busy closing and trying to make a sale rather than let's see if this is the right person to bring into my life.
Yeah.
is this the right person to bring into my life? Because when they're the right people, what do? They add, they add energy. When it's the wrong person, if you close the wrong person, guess what? You win for about 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And then you attract the energy vampire, the person who just sucks the energy from your day, from your life, from your existence. You wake up thinking about that person. So if you're going to have 20 referring partners, figure out how can I identify the 4, 5, 6, 8 of these that are just freaking home run, ideal, amazing people, rather than if I close all 20, yay, I went for a few seconds until I find out that 10 of those 20, now I need to break up with. And now we got to break up with 10 referring partners over the next 30, 60, 90 days. So not only did we piss away time closing the wrong people, not only did we piss away 30, 60, 90 days because these 10 people are not our people. They're not in our tribe. They don't work like we do. They don't act like we do. They don't have the same alignments that we do. They don't operate in the same levels of integrity that we do. But now we need to go through a very painful breakup process usually.
Yeah.
So
Well,
don't sell them, disqualify them, and bring in the right people.
yeah, I think that's obviously that's a great point. And anytime we're detached from the sale, anytime we're detached of that, every single one we go to, that the outcome is, man, we got to have them. Just it's a shift. I mean, they end up being attracted more to you, right? I mean, they want to do business that way. And I would say sometimes if we do it wrong, that there may be a couple, 2 or 3 partnerships in that 20 that were right for us, but we set up the conversation wrong, and then they end up being wrong for us because the initial conversations, initial relationship wasn't set up correctly. And so if there's some of those partnerships, and I certainly when I've had wrong conversations up front, like that may have been a good partnership for me. However, I kind of mucked that up in the beginning. So at that point, the expectations are not correct. And then when the expectations are not correct and you don't have those deeper questions of like, can we be a fit? Like, what is your setup? How do you run your team? What do you do like that helps each other win? If they have a false expectation, then they can leave with just not having clear communication at that point because you weren't listening for it. You're just busy trying to like, oh man, let's get them in there. When they could have been a great partner, you just didn't set the tone. You didn't have that correct conversation. You didn't listen to them, and there was a disconnect. And now that bridge sometimes is hard to, hard to mend at that point because the fact is you set up the conversation wrong. So I think that we didn't need to disqualify people, but it's also, I feel like, and even in my own experience, bringing the right people in the wrong way is going to cost you relationships as well.
It absolutely does. And you bring up the good, kind of a parallel point to that is, if we're talking to those 20 referring partners and we're busy trying to sell the 10 that we don't have any business working with anyway, then there are 1 or 2 or 3 of those absolute diamonds that will often they slide away, right?
Yeah.
Because we're focusing on the wrong people. And you had the all-star, you had the MVP maybe of the all-star game there waiting to do business with you, but you were so busy investing all of this time and energy into the wrong people that you just missed them.
Yeah.
And you lost the MVP. Now, that doesn't mean he's got lost and gone forever, but that's the thing that happens with when we sell like that is we wind up selling all the bad deals. And then we wind up having 1 or 2 of these amazing partners that unfortunately just didn't get that attention. And I always like to reference, when I talk about any of this stuff for selling, it's not that I woke up one day and I just, hey, I'm so great and I'm so smart that I just figured it out. It was because I had to wildly screw it up 15, 16, 17 years ago, where I had my company and there was 55 of us. And when I would go out and I was just naturally good with my energy and my rapport and going out in the body language and communication, I really got good at the sales process. So it wasn't that I was trying to sell everybody, but it just seemed so friggin' natural that I was just in there and I'm selling and I'm selling and I'm selling and I'm selling. And then I started overwhelming our different departments because I was just selling so much. That was cool. My ego was all, hey, look at me, I'm overwhelming everybody. Well, then the overwhelm started to shift to anger. It started to shift to all of my overselling was that my partner was recognizing that some of our clients were really big pain in the ASS. And then all of a sudden our service team was like, man, these guys are really jerks. And then our installation team was, man, we went in there and 99% of everything went perfect. And the 1%, they lost their flipping minds and they were like screaming at us because of this one little thing that happened. I began to realize that my actions had consequences across the entire company, that it wasn't just screwing me up. It was screwing up all of my employees. It was screwing up my coworker. It was screwing up essentially, you know, if when you have your own people, these are family. And I was serving my family up these great big hot smoldering plates of turds. I couldn't do that anymore. So not only did I learn the lesson, but it got magnified about tenfold to me because I saw firsthand how my service department, my installation department, how my follow-up division, how our assistants, secretary, our accounting, they were the ones getting dumped on.
Yeah.
So that magnified everything. So when you're going into your appointments, when you're going into a client with a referring partner, gosh, really start like just think about putting on those spectacles, man. Put on those glasses where you're filtering out, where you can look through the room and really filter out. Don't look at to go sell yourself into it, but look at how can I begin to identify these characteristics, these traits, this impeccable integrity that is so totally aligned that I want to spend my time with them. I want to hang out with them. I want to go out and grab a drink. I want to go out and grab a bite. I want to go out and do things with them because we're so tightly aligned rather than, wow, I sold that deal and I hope to God I don't have to spend any time with that idiot. Right?
Right.
Because I think he may send me some deals, although I don't like them.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't work. They'll send you deals and you're going to be miserable. Find the person who's going to do deals with you and that you're going to love, and they love you in return, because then you're really going to start doing deals together.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And again, I think it all goes, we talk about it all the time in our groups, our genius law officer, and just when we're just talking in general, mindset's everything. And when you go in with a mindset of, you know, I am disqualifying them, I am going to see if they're a fit for me, and I'm going to make sure that this is a partnership that's going to last, et cetera. We're doing all those things, and we're asking those deep dive questions. We're asking questions for trust, rapport, and emotional persuasion, and we're seeing how their authentic self is coming out and whether that is someone we align with and how they do their business. And we're the ones talking and trying to get, or really just asking the questions to where they are opening up and we are seeing inside their world, inside their head space, all those things that we can do. And we are intently listening. We're going to find out if that's the person we want to align with or not, rather than we shut off our ears and we're just waiting for, and this is the thing with loan officers all day long, right? Because, you know, it's like they get the new, you know, they go to a new company, they go to and it's like, oh man, this is all fixed, right? Everything's fixed. And I got this new programs and I got, you know, my rates are better here. And man, I'm just going to tear it up. And I'll tell you what, and everybody, I'm so excited. And they start off with, hey, let me call you Mr. Realtor. I'm so excited. I changed over here. It's like, you're excited doesn't mean I have to be excited about it. And guess what? Nobody really cares about those things. You know, if you don't have rapport, trust, and all that stuff built up, nobody cares. Like, it's just, you're like, you know, I actually taught a class about this too, about your post or killing your sales. And, you know, I actually took a post that somebody put, you know, and changed it around. And the first line was, I'm excited about this new program. It's like, nobody gives a crap that you're excited about your own program. Like if I'm like, I'm so excited about Genius Loan Officer, it's like, what's the problem we solve? Like, right? Like
Right.
at the end of the day, like who cares? Can we have those deep conversations? I can help you solve a problem, and we can help solve those problems. And those problems can be in many different areas. It could be just they want true partnership, and they want to find someone that they like as a loan officer, that aligns with them, and they just like. Not that you're going to do a better job than the other loan officer, but they're going to align with them a little bit better. It could be many things, but when we just come in there and we're excited about this, and oh my gosh, we got this, and we got this, and we're like, cool, great, that's awesome. So basically, what you're saying is you're a good loan officer, like everybody else says they are. Like, and nobody comes up and says, you know what, Dallas, Mr. Dallas, the realtor, did you know that I'm like probably in this town, I'm probably 15 to 20-ish, like somewhere in that area, as good of a loan officer as somebody else. I'm probably in a 15 to 20 area. You're not the best? No, I'm like on a 15, 20 as far as like my service and rate. And no, what do you say? I'm everybody says they're the best. They show up. They all think they're the best. And it's cool to think you're the best, but projecting that into the first conversation, not the way we need. And that is closing off. That's closing off because you're creating sales resistance off the bat.
Yeah. And like we're talking about, like this is in the micro a whole lot, in much more of the macro. I had a conversation with someone that well yesterday, and a couple real key takeaways. This is a gentleman who he essentially over several states, he grew a territory about 7 times. So the numbers went up about 7-fold. And the 2 takeaways, of course, were number one, if someone's talking about prices and products, like you're snookered, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're missing the point. If you're going to referring partners and you're sitting there and talking about your prices and your products, you're not in the top 10 or 15. Unfortunately, you're probably not in the top 50%. You're in that, you're down there waiting down at the bottom, because you're actually talking about your prices and products, rather than trying to figure a way to be aligned with this person and to see if there is total congruency. If you and this referring partner can work together at a super, super, super high level. That was number one that stood out in our conversation. And the other part I loved, which I think runs so tightly into the whole sales conversation, is being able to put yourself in the position where you can be an absolute, just doing it properly, sales machine, because that 80 or 90% distraction that's on your plate right now, that stuff just moved off your plate, so that you can be focusing on that 10, 15, 20% where you're absolutely a genius, where you can absolutely just crush things in your business. And that 80, 85%, that just all of those distractions that are on our plate, rather than figuring out what's that one thing I can add, what's that one new program, that one new software, then the one new integration, it's like, how do I remove 80 or 85% of the distractions?
Yeah.
And then I can start to grow my sales. And those 80 or 85% of those distractions are probably making your next best hire, so that now you can go out and properly sell and market to the right people to bring into your world to help you thrive and to help you really grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those points. And absolutely, I know obviously who you're speaking of, and he has been very clear about that. And when he's trying to bring people in, he's disqualifying people, and he's gotten better and better at that even. And you know what happens? He has way less turnover than other places. Like there's very little turnover because he's disqualifying. That's what you're here for. That's not going to happen. And I'll tell you this, also with loan officers, the big mistake, and I've been around so many loan officers in different companies, and they're trying to do these like, man, okay, I need this bank statement program. And oh my gosh, like that way I can go out there and I can market this. And they're like, by the way, bank statement programs, like, and maybe somebody listening going, oh my gosh, it's not that hard. It's like, okay, come on now. Like so these specialty programs is what I'm talking about. Are really tough.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm going to win that. I'm going to do that one deal for that realtor because now I'm going to get their business. Like, and it's like, you know what you become? You become the junk pit. Like I literally had this one loan officer, and God bless her, love her. She's a great woman, right? But like she really is. And I was like trying to get through to her, and I wasn't coaching her. This is like a few years back. I'm just like, would you stop? And she was like, and
Please
she, you
stop.
know, she's doing a few loans a month, and like she was working so hard because she always had these like pushback on closing dates and everything else because they were just a mess. And she was doing these like bank statement hard programs and is like, well, I'm trying to win this realtor. I'm trying to win this realtor. I mean, I'll get, it's like, you know what association they have with you after you do that tough deal, that your process and you're slow, it's going to be painful. Like they're associating that pain, even though you could even say, Dallas, listen, this is going to suck. This is going to be a rectal exam. Okay. I'm just telling you, it's going to be horrible. It is going to be horrible. And, but Mr. Realtor, like I'm going to take care of this client, but it's going to be horrible. It's going to be, it's going to be a tough loan. And even though I tell you that, when it goes really rough, because you've taken on something to just to impress Dallas the realtor.
Yep.
And that goes really rough. You, Dallas the realtor, associate painstaking loan process with me. Like that's
For
just
sure.
That is what you associate. It doesn't matter. You just go, man, and I can sit there and try to sell it. Sometimes you can. It's like, but that is a horrible way to go about business. Going, I'm going to take the crap pile over here and try to get this done to impress you, because they're going to associate you with pain. It's like I remember I grew up and I loved iced tea. Loved iced tea. Like I would drink iced tea. Man, it was the best thing ever, right? And so I came in, I was sweating my butt off, man. I was playing hard. I was a kid. I was like probably maybe nine, something like 10 years old. So I run inside, just pouring down sweat, just wore out. I guzzled tea, and it went down and it went right back up. I was like, whoa, I mean, I puked everywhere. Just it was just because I was so hot over, and it just hit me, right?
Yep.
Do you know that I didn't drink iced tea from like the age of like 9, 10 until I was like 30 years old? Like I wouldn't even touch iced tea, even though iced tea had nothing to do really with me puking. Like it could have been any drink pretty much at a time. I was just, but it's not like I could have drank iced tea at a later time and it'd be okay. But guess what? I had association with puking when I drank iced tea. It was so I didn't drink iced tea. It ruined it for me for years. And so what we're doing is we're giving that association. You want to, as a professional, them to associate you with smooth closings, with partnership, with deep connecting conversations, with just being in alignment. But when you do things like that, all of a sudden you're going to have the wrong association. And then when the next junk pit comes up, yeah, they're going to send you another deal. But then now Dallas the realtor is sending Adam the loan officer crap pile, and you're saving the good stuff for the one that you associate with smooth closing. Well, this is going to be a really hot mess. Maybe I can get it through. Here you go.
Yeah.
Not what you want out of your business. And you will run that cycle. And I've seen loan officers run that cycle. And if you're out there doing those crap deals like that, and I know, well, I'm helping that client. I get it. Hard luck case and everything else. We all want to help people, but sometimes you need to just pass that deal to somebody else. And because, it's hurting your business.
Yeah, if they're going to be a willing participant, if somebody else wants to do it, fantastic. Again, I made these same mistakes when I was first getting started in one of my first bigger company that really got some traction. Is, I'd get the call. I'm like, hey, I just want to give you a warning. We've had 4 other companies out here already and they couldn't make it work. And I took that as a personal challenge, right? They're like, we had 4 other companies and they just couldn't even come close. And I'm like, hey, let us come out there. We'll do it. Well, we'd go out and my installers were mad, and the service department was mad. We had to bring in extra construction help. Everybody was angry. Everybody was mad. It worked to 80% of what we thought it was going to work. We'd tell the client in advance, well, you obviously, you know that this is going to be hard, but we're going to make it work. And still, when it was hard, then they didn't think it was going to be quite as hard, quite as messy, quite as long, quite as fill in the blank as what it wound up being. So we would always leave that deal, always and forever leaving that deal, having the client mad at us, like bending over backwards, twice the amount of labor, twice the amount of sending in trucks and extra people, everything we could do to satisfy that client. And we would leave there with them angry and making sure that they shared it with 2 or 3 other people, that how we botched up the thing.
Right.
It was just inevitable, rather than saying no.
It's absolutely, it's just so funny because it's absolutely the way it goes, right? It's like, I mean, I've been there. I've taken on deals and listen, you know, loans are tough enough to close, like when in the straight vanilla like world, right? It's like you get loans, you can get 20, 30, 40 loans in there at a time. And like, there's always like dumpster fires, like you don't even see coming. Like if you see a dumpster fire running at you, you don't
need to help it.
Right? You're already going to have dumpster fires show up when you didn't even know that's what was going to happen, right? You get them under contract and just like, it's like, what just happened here, right? Like, I don't care who you are, how many deals how good you do pre-qualification, all that stuff. Like, there's always a dumpster fire somewhere, like in the transaction, something that is like, oh my goodness, right?
It's like they had how many dummy corporations in the Cayman Islands? What are they doing?
There's always, but don't willingly see the dumpster fire running at you and be like, yeah, I'm just going to let that just keep on going. No, come on in, let's go. Like, it's like, come on.
I can help you. Yeah. I can help you.
You know, I mean, it's just, loans are tough enough. Stay in the vanilla. It's like people, you know, I've had realtors all the time. It's like, what programs do? I'm like, do you like vanilla ice cream? And like, yeah. I said, we make the best damn vanilla ice cream you've ever ate in your life. Like, we stay within the vanilla. Like, we do the FHA, we do the VA, we do the USDA, we do the conventional, we do, you know, we do it freaking excellent. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, do you do bank statement pros? No. Do you do that? No. I'm glad you can have the other partner, but when you send it over here in vanilla, we're going to make that. It's going to be from the creamery. It's going to be thick, rich with the milk. It's going to be great. We're going to serve them afterwards. Then we're going to get them vanilla ice cream after they close, right? That's what we're going to do. We're not going to do the dumpster fire, okay? That's just not us. That's not what we're about. If that's who you need, then that we're not fit for you, and it's cool. And so a lot of times loan officers will hear one thing because they're like, hey, do you do this? And the realtor sometimes doesn't know what questions to ask. They just ask questions like, that's just like, what you do this kind of program? And then what happens is, and I've had it, trust me, I've had it, you know, it's like where you have to continue to work on yourself all of a sudden, but you've had it in the past, like years past, where they say that and you're all of a sudden shrinking like, oh crap. If I don't say yes, gosh, this partnership's going to be not go through. Right.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to close. Yeah. So it's all about the unclosing. But the other shift is, and guess what? When I just then stopped saying that and just was feeling confident and feeling like, you know, unclosing, and I'm going to see if this is a partnership I need anyway. And I'm like, no, we make the best damn vanilla ice cream ever. This is what we do. Do it excellent. Okay, good. Do you do it? By the way, do you do any kind of those? No, not really. Cool. Can we feel like we're a fit for each other? Yeah. Why do you think that? Oh man, it sounds like you do that. Cool. Great. Guess what? They want to they want to be a partnership with you, but all you're doing is, oh my gosh. And then you're like, they don't do this. And maybe I need to switch companies that does these programs. No, you don't. You need to be clear in what you do well.
I got to have that one program, that one product. That'll change everything.
It's like us, Dallas. Like Dallas, we could be like, somebody comes to us like, you do leads, and like, oh shit, Dallas, let's go get a lead department. Let's go do the. And it's like, no, if you want to come to Genius Loan Officer and do leads, it ain't on us, right? We're not
Dude, I
doing
got that
leads.
on my phone right now. I got that this morning.
Right. Yeah.
I
We're
had
not doing,
someone's like, I hear you guys are just ballers, man. I hear you guys are doing like marketing and lead stuff, man. Can you help me with your leads and marketing stuff? And I'm just, no.
no, no. We go after high-end referral partners. We do it the right way. We reduce your hours, not increase your hours, which is, we go after the multipliers. We don't go after the low, like the low activities, the things that are really not going to bring you the expanded growth that you need, not that little bitty blip. Oh my gosh, I just got that deal. I just got that, that lead that finally bought something. Oh my gosh, I gotta keep doing it. We're looking for exponential growth. We're looking for like, let's shoot up. And at the same simultaneous time, jumping down your hours, not when you go after leads and you're doing all this other stuff, like you're increasing your hours, you're increasing your angst, you're not leveraging. And we say, no, we don't do that. And so that's the same thing in our business. Somebody comes to us and, oh my gosh, Dallas, let's go ahead and let's get this. No, we don't do that. What is your end result you're trying to accomplish? Well, would you like to do more deals and do it in 6 hours? Okay. So like, we're going to give you that formula to do it. So you're looking for a result. This is the result you're looking for. Well, we don't do it that way. If you are adamant about that's the way you want to do it, we're not a fit for you. Cool. And people respect that, and they know what they're getting. And then you're getting into a program, you're getting in a loan space the right way and the right partnerships you need.
Yeah. And I tell you, let's do a real quick role play here, just so we can show everybody exactly what we're talking about here. Is go ahead and just ask me if I do one of these like bank programs. Just ask me the question.
Hey, Dallas, just want to know, do you do any of those bank statement programs?
Now I can explain it away. I can kind of shift. I can tell them the things that we could do, that we can maybe work this out. I can make some calls. I can reach out to some people. We're not really so much, haven't done a lot of those, but I do know some folks, and we can try to figure our way out through it. And it's messy and blah, 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 blah. Or I can just sit and just look them squarely back and just say, actually, we don't, Adam. We found quite a few years ago that we have a really thin area that when we stay in that little narrow space, we are absolutely home run all stars. So we make sure that we stay in that really narrow space so that every single time we're able to wow our clients and wow our referral partners, rather than chasing all these areas that we're really not particularly good at.
It's good. I mean, even though I know we're role playing, it's like, yeah, that's what I want to hear. It's like, I know that you're going deep with the things that you're really good at, and you are, you're a sniper. I mean, you're doing the things like you're hitting bullseyes. I mean, that's what you said in that. I mean, and for me, it gives me comfort. It as a realtor would be to send them to somebody that's saying, no, we don't do that, which is good, because anytime you have drawback, people are like, oh, what? Well, then they can be more trustworthy of what you do well, because you're telling them like, I don't do that well. Instead of like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, I do that well. Do that. So you do everything well. Like,
people
oh my God.
hear that. They hear that when you're like, oh yeah, well, I can figure it out. Yeah. I mean, they're not that bad, Adam. I mean, we've got a little bit of experience. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have some experience. I'm not saying this would be the first time we're doing it. We haven't got a ton of them, but and rather than we do not,
right.
When we're inside this space, we're awesome. Outside of it, we're just not. So we stay inside this space, Adam.
Well, I tell you what, this is, I had a, really coaching moment with someone. It was a title rep, like about a couple of years ago. So I have a title rep that I use all the time. One of my friends wanted me to meet this title rep because he was getting into business and trying to grow his business. And I was like, okay, I'll meet with him. And we sit down, and he's like, I mean, he threw mud, like up and down my walls, dude. It was like, if he had mud, he just kept on grabbing mud and throw it, right? Like, just, it's literally like, that's an image you should think about. Are you throwing just mud everywhere, And so he's like, we do this. And, if you need this, we'll change around this, we'll do this. And it was like, and he got done with it. And I was like, and I know he's trying. So I was like, are you open to me, just having a little coaching moment with you? He's like, yeah. I said, and because I want to help you. I said, I don't want this to sound like I'm belittling you or anything else, because I genuinely want to help you, because you seem like a great guy. You seem like you really want to help.
Yeah.
I said, but everything you said, you know what you did? You gave me every reason not to use you, because how is that sustainable?
Yeah.
Like if you bring in 10 other people and you go and have these meetings and they all just decide to use you, you won't even know your own system.
Yeah.
So you will miss everything. You won't do any of those things after a while. And then if you end up figuring out that you can't do those, then the promises you're making now won't come true. And I said, the coaching opportunity I would like to give to you is that, what is the three things that you do really well? What's the one maybe thing that you know that the marketplace and other title companies are not doing, that you can say, hey, as this service, this is a white glove service that we're going to do that somebody else doesn't, that we know that is needed out there. Would this help you? Or you could honestly just ask me, it's like, what's important to you out of a title company? Like, and maybe you're not getting out there, right? Those little questions.
The crazy question.
Yeah, right? Like easy.
What's important to you,
right,
Adam?
Right. And so it's like, here's what we do really well, but what's important to you? I mean, those are easy things. Instead of he just was throwing mud all against the wall. And it's like, dude, that's all that shows me is you don't know how to run your business.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable.
Because you know better.
Yeah.
To a lot of people, that sounds sexy, right?
Yeah.
What's he do? Everything.
Yeah.
Really? Everything. We're going to use him for everything.
Yeah.
They don't know any better.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like magic to them.
Yeah.
Man, there's like 50 programs out there, and he said he'll try all 50 of them. Okay. Well, good luck with that. What's that team look like, by the way, when you're doing 50 different things like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. You just make it work. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
We'll see how your clients like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it was good. I mean, I enjoy that because he, you know, to his credit, I mean, he listened. I think he did. I think I helped him make adjustments. I mean, I didn't personally ever use him because I'm so tight with my title company, but you know, and I told him, a friend, I said, you know, I don't know if there's anything you could do that I would shift over other than my title rep just, you know, crap in the bed, you know, but I said, you know, I hope you are successful, and I hope you take this with you. And I'd love to hear like how you did do this. And, you know, I'm not saying 100% no, but if we ever have a meeting again, like, I hope it's in the nature of which I just presented to you, and you know who you are, you know your brand, and you have an open communication of what you can do and what you can't do. And if you do that, I tell you what, people are going to trust you more. They're going to, and the thing is, like any post or anything you do, you try to like, and we all do it, right? Like I've done it. Like you try to like, we do this, we do this, we do this, and we do this. And all of a sudden it's like, just nail one point, like one problem you solve, you know, at a time. Just talk about that, because when you do, people are going to latch on that and go, okay, there you go. Otherwise it's just noise. Like if you tell somebody 10 different things that you do really well, like people don't remember that. You just wasted words, and then they end up not remembering anything. But if you nail a couple, like 1 or 2 points that you really do well, you have those conversations, you're going to win.
One more way to disqualify, right?
Yep.
Like you come to me and you say, Dallas, what do you do well? And I say, I can do any of these 10 things, Adam. Well, again, if I'm representing myself the wrong way, and then I'm drawing Adam into my world by misrepresenting myself and now drawing him in, now he's going to have unrealistic expectations of what we can perform.
Yeah.
Because I've just told him we do these 10 things. And I get it. Again, Adam and I both did these things. It's not like we just woke up and we were so smart we knew not to do them. It was because I wildly, grossly, massively did these things years back. And it absolutely created messes that I could not have imagined,
Yep.
because my brain is saying sell, sell, close, close, convince, convince,
Yep.
get them all in the door, get them all in the door, because we're thinking that's how you grow. And our brain does not automatically go to the place of, when I start stepping down and I start saying no more often, I start screening more often, I start disqualifying more often, I start unclosing, and I stop trying to bring everybody into my world. That was when all my sales started to do that. Is that was when, instead of saying, oh yeah, we do all 10 of those things, it was, how do I stop talking about 7 or 8 of those things? So
Right.
when you would ask me, Douse, do you do that thing? I say, Adam, we do not. However, if you're in the market for this and this, we do it better than anybody on the planet.
Yeah.
Man, did those conversations start landing on people hard. And did I always get that business? No, because a lot of times they weren't looking for my 2 things. That was fine. But
Yeah.
man, they knew who I was. They respected me for what I did. And when I talked to the people who had just talked to another company and said, oh yeah, we do all 10 of those things, and then they'd expect me to say the same thing. So Dallas, I'm assuming you guys do all 10 of those things too? Like, we do not. We do these 2 things, but my God, do we do these 2 things better than anybody else? And I cannot tell you how many times the prospect would become a client right away by saying, I tell you what I'm going to do. I want you to do these 2 things. We're going to hire you guys to do 2 things. And then we got this other company that will do 3 or 4 of these other things. They're the 10% of the job. We want you guys to do that 90% that you do so well, and we'll just let them do the other 10%.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. It just opens up doors. And again, yeah, and you're right. I mean, I made these mistakes too. It was early in my loan officer career. I mean, again, I did a really good job on sales and all that stuff. And then, somewhere along the line, you get off kilter a little bit, and then you realize, like, oh, I'm saying, I'm saying yes to too many things. And I'm, when they're asking me if I got the program, I'm shrinking a little bit. And then you go, okay, that's not the way we do things. And, I had to kind of self-regulate again, because once you start, shrinking, once they're asking you the 10 other things that you don't do, or you don't do well, or, all those things. I mean, it just ruins your credibility. I mean, the thing, I just look at it like this. I mean, how much trust, I mean, and that's the whole thing, right? Trust is huge, especially in today's day and age. People don't trust people as much. And when you say you don't do something, and then you say, I do this really well, I mean, the trust is just goes up like 10, 20, 100 fold, because like that disqualification there. And then this is what I know, this is what we do excellent. I'll tell you what, it's just a trust builder right off the bat. And just because just the people don't do it. I mean, and because people, that's why there's dreaded salespeople, because people don't like salespeople because they don't like being lied to. They don't like being just told what they want to hear. And and when you're authentic with that, like, people just draw to you. And like you said, it's like, well, I don't do all those. Well, I'll hire somebody else to do some of the rest, right? And I think once we target stuff we do really well, that's that just attracts people to us. And even though in like Genius Loan Officer, there's other elements we do, but if we're sitting there talking about 50 things we do out there, it's just noise, right?
Right.
What we should be talking about is a couple things that really the overriding things that help get the result. And here's what the hell we don't do, because we don't want you there, because it's not going to be a fit for you. And that's a beautiful thing. It's like, you get the right people. And again, there's not false expectations, because it doesn't do any good to get funnel real estate agents into your world if you're having to get new ones 2 weeks later because you can't do the things you're trying to promise you could do.
Yeah.
You're not excellent in what you do.
One of the biggest things we talk about inside the program, right, is that when you sell right, and I'm just using a very generic term right now because there's a lot of different layers and a lot of different ways to selling right. But when you sell right, you only sell one time. ever. You know, I shared with you here a few days ago of a gentleman who we started working with again that I hadn't spoken to in 33 months. But we had had an interaction 33 months previous to that. We had not spoken one time in those 33 months. We had not spoken one time, but he was ready to go ahead and begin doing some work with us because of a conversation that we had 33 months ago. That's the very definition of one of the greatest things I learned about unclosing, about not trying to sell everybody, is that when it's right, you sell one time. And then in 6 months, when they're ready to rebuy again, they do. When they're ready to refer somebody, they send them right to you. When they're ready for that next thing, those next friends, those next interactions, they're constantly sending people to you because you are the expert that does one or two things exceptionally well. You've sold yourself clearly into that relationship where you are in it to have alignment, to have integrity, to have trust, to have friendship, to be around somebody you want to be around, and not to be in the position where you sold it, you're selling, you closed it, you convinced them to get into the thing. And when I'm busy closing and convincing you, and again, I did this more times than I can imagine early on, but it was also the very gift that I needed to get the awareness, is that when I would start off and I was closing, convincing, I could close and convince them. It was great. They just kept coming in. But then they'd come back 6 months later wanting to buy again, and I had to go through the whole thing again. They were still talking to 4, 5, 6 other people. So I had to close, convince, hustling, dousing, shucking and jiving. I'm moving and shaking. Okay, got this deal again. Boom, I did it again. Yeah, I won the deal. And then 6 or 9 months later, they came back and I had to do it again. And I was like, what is going on? Every time they come back to me, I'm reselling against the same 5 or 6 other people. It was insanity. And then one day, the one training at the right time with the right person, where I started learning a lot of the things I started learning about the psychology of selling and unclosing and moving away from all of that, the whole energy changed where it was selling one time. And then 6 months later, they just came back and they're just like, yep, I'm ready to place another order. Because I wasn't trying to close them. I wasn't trying to convince them. It was all of the unclosing, all of the psychology of building that rapport, that trust, that respect, that alignment, all of those neuroassociative triggers, all of those ways to be so deeply aligned with somebody that it happened one time. And then over the course of 5 years, they would buy 6, 8, 10 times from me sometime. And a lot of times it didn't require a conversation with me. Yeah. It was my admin or my coworker or my secretary saying, hey, they just called in and they've got $25,000 they got to use by the end of the year. They just said, send them over a quote and make sure it's around 25,000 so they can use their end of year budget. And they'll just go ahead and they'll send over the purchase order. Like free money, because I wasn't closing and convincing. But when I was closing and convincing, if they came back to me, if they did 5 sales in 5 years, I had to go through the entire process every single time. I had to reclose them. I had to reclose you. That's exhausting. Like, you think closing one customer is hard? Try reclosing the same customer 5 times. Yeah. It's exhausting work. If you got 100 of those customers, you're reclosing 500 times. That's what I did, by the way, my first couple of years. Yeah. I was reclosing a lot of deals for no reason whatsoever, aside from the fact I didn't know any better. Yeah. As soon as I realized unclosing was the way, as soon as I realized that trying to screen, trying to disqualify properly was the way to do it, then suddenly I went from having multiple deals occur and then never, ever having to talk to that person even again. Oftentimes, they'd rebuy 10 times over the next 5 years, but I only sold once to get 10 sales. That was the difference maker.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's great advice. I think we got a lot of golden nuggets on here for somebody to just be different, because you know, if you're out there or you're a loan officer, if you're doing these things and you're unclosing, I mean, you may be the only one in your market like doing this. I mean, it's very likely, because everybody else is just doing it. And that's one of the things we coach against, because once you start going like, hey, this is it's the metric is just the amount of calls, just the amount of people you're seeing, and which is out there in the coaching space so much. And trust me, I got, you know, bought in that at one point, and then all of a sudden my sales acumen just started going down. I was like, whoa, wait a second. I know
What's
better
happening?
than this. I know better than this. Like Adam, like it's like touching a a hot stove, and then trying to touch it again a few years later and be like, dude, you know better than this. And I will not have that happen again. It's like the metric should be like, when you meet someone, what is your collaboration percentage? Not closing, like you collaborate, man. You collaborate and listen. I don't know, go down that song, right? But seriously, yeah. So collaborate, your collaborative effort to get you both, in partnership and unison. And so, the metric can't be just, hey, there's obviously amount of people you have to call. There's a requirement, right? Or amount of people you may have to sit down in a meeting, whatever that metric is. There's a certain amount of touches that you're going to have to get out there. But when that's the only real metric that you're really, really judging, like call these 40 realtors and that's it. Like, how about you call 10 and just be freaking excellent, right? How about you sit down with these amount of realtors and you collaborate with them instead of trying to close them down and talk about this other stuff. And then, or you can go to the other, what people are coaching is like, just going, if you meet enough people are going to do business with you. It's like, do you really want to do it that way? Do you want to keep expanding your hours? You want to have the wrong people in your staple that are really not, it's not a collaborative effort. It's just, there's a better way of doing business. So, everybody, I appreciate the fact that I've gotten several messages here lately about the podcast, telling how much it's helped them. It's helping them grow. Get the word out there. Please go ahead and subscribe. YouTube channels, go ahead and hit subscribe here. Hit me a 5-star if you can there, and a review. Help get the word out, because regardless if you're ever, call Dallas and I or go in our program, like I hope from this you're gaining and you're actually taking action on what you need to, and hopefully get the word out so it can help another, person in another market, crush business. Don't tell anybody in your own market, right? You got to keep it secret, right? But no, that's actually a mindset thing too. We would be talking about talk against too, but all jokes aside, hit that 5-star, give us a review, get the word out there. And, but if you do want to, run business the right way, the Genius Loan Officer way, hit us up at geniusloanofficer.com and we'll have a conversation and see if it's a fit. We will unclose you. We will see if you're a fit. If you are, then we'll gladly do all we can to make sure you're successful. But if you're not a fit, we're going to tell you too. And that's okay. We're
still going to love you.
Still going to love you. Still going to try to help you on the call. So,
yeah,
but guys, go out there, absolutely crush it. Limited risk equals limited income.